I heard the first edition made the mistake of messing with Texas. Oh, and it also depicted the Southwest as a place where people live. So, a film about the southwestern United States, made by some guy on the East Coast and a bunch of British guys. Yeah, this checks out.
The southwestern region of the United States, Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Arizona, is sometimes regarded
as an unlivable hellscape.
New Mexico and Arizona alone
battle it out for the worst of the southwestern states.
A high-level plain marks the plateau's eastern boundary, and mountains thrust their jagged peaks into its northern limits.
Mountains violently penetrating the northern border, forcing the eastern plains to watch.
Threading their way down through the fertile farmlands of Oklahoma and Texas to the Mississippi Basin and the Gulf of Mexico. On the western side, the slow rise of the plateau has forced the Colorado River to dig its bed a mile deep in the Grand Canyon.
The Colorado River, having no choice in whether it is in Arizona, buries itself as deep as possible, trying instead to go under Arizona.
The dry plateau is dotted with picturesque stretches of desert.
Picturesque in the sense that you can physically take a picture of it, but we've yet to find anyone willing to do so, or even willing to view the resulting image.
Cinder cones, which seem to have ceased activity only recently. The plateau is a country of mountain, plain, and canyon.
And that about wraps it up for the plateau.
The Grand Canyon of the Colorado attracts thousands of tourists annually, as well as geologists who come to read the history of the Earth in its exposed rock strata.
Is that what people did back before the internet? They'd go read rocks?
Other plateau lands contain a wealth of lure for tourists.
Come, scoff at the homes we force the natives to abandon. Hey, there's still one in here! Get him!
For ages, Indians have found this plateau a good place to live.
Native Americans agree with the Indian people's assessment of their traditional construction.
Explorations came upon ancient cultures here. As a result of intermarriage, Spanish blood, mixed with that of native Indian, continues to this day in many people of the Southwest. Both Spanish and English are official languages in New Mexico.
A fact Arizona has resented since inception.
Prehistoric irrigation systems are reflected in giant modern projects in the Rio Grande and Gila River basins. Crops include most of the
country. Look, I know this doesn't look that impressive, so just take my word for it.
More important on the plateau, however, are the cattle ranches introduced by the Spaniards. These influence life even today in this region. In the vast dry tableland are huge cattle ranges, stocked with thousands of highly bred beef cattle.
Some say they let their cows have too much sex. We say we want more.
There are sheep ranges with millions of
The Spanish, too, tried mixing their blood with the millions of sheep, but were only mildly successful. The resulting offspring will be covered in our next video on Florida.
New Mexico has ranked among leading sheep grazing regions since the time of Spanish occupation.
That motto is printed on every New Mexico commemorative quarter.
The eastern portion of the plateau, including portions of Texas and Oklahoma, exceeds even that of Arizona and New Mexico. The Southwest Texas subregion leads the nation in production of mohair.
It is an old Texan saying, the mohair we come across, the mo problems we see.
Oklahoma and other plain states are developing vast turkey ranches.
This is starting to sound like the personal inventory of an unemployed single guy. Yeah, still got turkeys.
Today, her mines produce nearly 1/2 of the nation's copper. In addition, Arizona has some gold and silver, zinc, and lead. Billions of tons of coal of this subregion underlie Indian reservations, hence cannot be developed at present.
They were still in the process of forcing Native Americans off that land while this was being filmed.
Of petroleum, and also produces some copper, silver, gold, and coal.
So everything Arizona does, and oil. New Mexico, better than Arizona, still worse than anywhere else.
Are the more fertile portion of the Southwest, where rainfall is heavier. This region likewise was crossed and recrossed by early Spanish explorers.
Truly, the Spanish were the hipsters of empire.
Later, Americans who had gradually settled in eastern Texas struck for liberty at the Alamo and at San Jacinto, and Texas became a republic which joined the Union in 1845.
But don't tell some people in Texas that, as some may construe this as messin' with Texas, and you may be murdered.
Lay Oklahoma, land of the red men.
Not to be confused with the land of the method men, the slums of Shaolin.
The Kiowas, Pawnees, Apaches,
Who would later go on to jump on it.
The great buffalo herds on the Great Plains. Later, refuge for Creeks, Cherokees, Chickasaws, Choctaws, and Seminoles, who were driven from their homes to the east.
By who? Unfortunately, we'll never know by who, or for what reason.
Today, it includes remnants of 88 tribes in its 120,000 of Indian ancestry. Today, nearly 9 million of the Southwest's 11 million people live in the fertile region of the eastern plains and Gulf Coast.
Spread out like survivors of the apocalypse, scurrying to the few natural resources left in this barren nightmare land.
Texas and Oklahoma, this area is closely related in agriculture to the southeastern United States. Texas and Oklahoma raising about 1/3 of the nation's cotton.
Just wait a cotton-picking minute. You mean Arizona can't even have this either? Good thing they have that creative form of racism to fall back on.
Cotton in an average year. It is in cotton that Texas' 1 million Negro population find much
So
of their
Arizona can't even have racism now. Come on.
Along with Louisiana and Arkansas, southeast Texas irrigated lands produce millions of bushels of rice yearly. While in another irrigated district, the lower Rio Grande Valley, is one of the nation's richest year-round truck gardening areas, as well as vast level grapefruit orchards.
Rice and grapefruit. Two great tastes that taste great
Northwestern part of
together.
The region is in the winter wheat belt. Oklahoma stands high among the states in production of winter wheat.
Winter wheat.
Corn farmers reap fine harvests in large valley areas nearby. And Oklahoma's cotton belt produces nearly
You know,
500,000
they could have just said
bales per
every
year.
state has identical natural resources, but that'd make this video about 10 minutes shorter.
Coal fields, bituminous coal miners aid in mineral production.
You know, just checking on Wikipedia here, it says the official state meal of Oklahoma is fried okra, squash, cornbread, barbecue pork, biscuits, sausage and gravy, grits, corn, strawberries, chicken fried steak, pecan pie, and black-eyed peas, in that exact sequence. That's not to be confused with the state meal of Texas, which is squash, okra, cornbread, barbecue pork, biscuits, sausage and gravy, grits, corn, strawberries, chicken fried steak, pecan pie, and black-eyed peas, in that exact order. Also not to be confused with the state meal of New Mexico, which is cornbread, fried okra, squash, barbecue pork, biscuits and gravy, grits, corn, strawberries, chicken fried steak, pecan pie, and black-eyed peas.
Part of a vast basin extending into Louisiana on the east, into Kansas on the north, and New Mexico on the west. In a recent year, Texas alone produced almost 1/4 of the total world supply of petroleum.
Scientists hope that by the 1980s, this will lead to the creation of a primetime soap opera starring a character named JR.
Has been the backbone of Oklahoma's wealth. Today,
Yeah, this is totally better than the wind farm.
upon the very capital in Oklahoma
Right now,
City.
Sarah Palin is shedding a single tear and saluting a flag she thinks is the American
Petroleum
one.
is piped to the Texas Gulf Coast in and near Port Arthur, which boasts the largest petroleum refining center in the world. From such Texas Gulf ports as Beaumont, Port Arthur, Houston, Texas City, Galveston, and Corpus Christi.
Why are they mapping out the
a
next
variety of
seasons of The
products
Real
to the eastern
Housewives?
seaboard,
Oh, I
to
see.
Europe,
They're going to put
to
them on
South
boats
America.
and then sink them in the Gulf of Mexico.
Thus, the
Then let the Gulf of
Southwest
Mexico on
supplies raw
fire.
materials.
Thanks, BP.
Petroleum, cotton, copper,
Red and green sauce that they won't shut the hell up about.
vegetables,
Racism.
and sheep. It receives manufactured goods, clothing, tools,
I'm pretty sure tools should be about one state lower.
autos and farm machinery from the middle states, farm products from the northwest,
Angrier, more violent forms of
from
racism.
the southeast, lumber, seafoods, fruits, and motion pictures.
Let us never
from the
forget how
northwest.
important a raw material motion pictures
There
are.
are 10 cities in the southwest of over 100,000 population.
Each of them
They
unbearable in
and
their own
smaller
unique
sister
way.
Cities are mostly trade and jobbing centers in a region that has had the greatest population increase ratio in recent years.
This video is literally all the education Rick Perry received before
Cities
running
of
for
the
president.
Southwest are typically new and clean, fueled largely by natural gas. Cities largely without smoke.
without smoke, but certainly with fire, because again, you are in hell. A land as devoid of culture as it is water and basic humanity.
Of strong native growth become vast irrigated citrus farms. Across the sunlit plateau to the west, echoing back from canyon walls that long have shielded a dead past.
Hopefully one day we will know how this past died. Maybe if geologists got off their duff and stopped reading rocks for once, we could have an answer.
Of resources by modern industry, the rising crescendo of the conquest of a continent.